Figured I'd take a walk out this morning and take a look at this. This is an apple tree. They're old apple trees in this orchard, but we can see some small apples forming. It's a small orchard, but this is actually a really decent sized tree. It didn't produce a lot last year, and you can see some of the green apples that are forming, which we're really happy about. But we really have to trim some of these trees because they're old and they need a real trimming if we're gonna keep them going. You can see that bottom branch is pretty much dead. So I guess we could use that wood just to smoke some meats. Let's give us some apple, whatever, some apple flavored meats, so you can see this apple. Now, the one thing I will say is when you find these apples off the tree, they look nothing like the ones that are in the store. You can see they're blemished. They actually don't get anywhere near as big. So it's interesting. You know, you go to the store and you buy these apples, and they're gigantic, and they're perfect, and they shine. And then we've become such snobs as consumers where if we see any kind of a blemish, we wouldn't touch, forget that other side, but we wouldn't touch an apple that looked like this. We just wouldn't do it. And what's interesting is, you know, today, you know, we've lost touch, so many of us, as to what food actually is and what it should look like. Like, you know, when we send our meat to customers, sometimes their mind is blown if they've never had meat off the farm before, because just the color alone is totally different. It's just a totally different color. And then, you know, the chickens, again, the taste, there's no chewiness to them. There they are over there. There's no chewy taste. When you bite it, it's not this, like, you know, just almost flavorless meat, or who knows, maybe even man-made meat today. But you know, if you can keep things as natural as possible, they may not look perfect, but they're gonna have the nutrients and the nutrition that it's supposed to have. And that's really what this farm is all about. You know, we're not into, you know, the commercial methods of farming. We're more into the natural methods of farming, and that's basically get the hell out of the way and just facilitate the most natural process possible. Like, if we don't eat this apple, it's gonna go to the pigs, and the pigs will love the apples, right? So you know, we've just gotten so far away from how things used to be, how things should be, and also how things can be. If more people got interested in their food and where their food comes from and controlling their own food supply, things would change, and they would change really fast. You know, there is that saying, we the people, and we the people do have a lot of power. We have a lot of decision-making power, and these big brands that are out there controlling the meat, from the processors, you know, to the feedlots and all that, you know, we have the ability to hamper their revenue, whether we believe it or not. You know, if enough people got back to farms and farming and thinking about how they could raise even some chickens in their backyard or whatever, things would start to change. And if people started to really think about the small farm that's in their area, or the small farm that's in their state, or, you know, like us, you may not be in our state, but if you want to share, we can drive it to you. If you want a box, we could send it to you wherever you are. Like, you can support small farms and small agriculture, and it goes a long way. And at the same time, you're not just supporting a small farm and a family that runs the farm, but you're able to really put a positive dent in some of these big brands that are really just killing us. You know, they're killing us. That's what they're doing. These big brands are not good. You talk about brands like Cargill that run everything. I mean, these are not brands and companies, and some of you may not even know about them, but they're not companies that are helping us be better, and they're not companies that are helping us live off the land and live well. They're taking us further away. They're modifying food. They're creating food now, right? Lab foods. Are you kidding me? Like these are not from a lab. They're raised right here on this ground. This is what they've been pecking at. Look at the trail. You can see the trail that they've been pecking at. So what are we doing? You know, we wonder why illness is high, cancer's high, people are getting sick. Like, what do you think it is? I think, you know, it's our food, right? Our food supply is in trouble because it's controlled by people that don't care about you, your family, or the food in which you eat. So when you start to think about that, think about how much control you actually have. You know, people say, hey, you guys are in upstate New York. It's a 3-hour ride. I said, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll bring it to you. We'll bring the meat right to you. We'll bring it to your house. We'll ship it right to your house. That's how we want to sort of take the Amazon model of bringing it right to you and make it easy for you. So that way you can enjoy farm fresh meats and know where your food comes from. And we always tell people, listen, you could come up to our farm any day, almost any time, because we're working all day, and you'll see how we do things. There's nothing to hide here. It's all out in the open. We don't change because people are coming up for a tour and say, okay, we got to prepare for the tour. It's like, no, come on, check it out, see how we do things. But, you know, food is, you know, something that you really should care about, because good food can change your body. We have a lot of customers that are doing this whole carnivore thing. And I was telling Lauren about it. I said, you know, as much as, you know, we like that people are eating meat all the time, maybe it's the best diet for them, maybe it's not. But a lot of them are having tremendous benefits in terms of energy, weight loss, just feeling amazing, clarity, reduced anxiety from, you know, being on this carnivore diet. And the one thing I said is, you know, for those that are on it, that source their meats from a small farm, the meat is the one thing today that we know exactly how it's raised and where it comes from when you buy from the small farm. You know, so you have a cow that's raised on pasture like that, gets picked up one day, goes right to the small family processor. It's processed, it's cut, it's frozen, it's sealed up and boxed, and then it's to you. There's no question about that meat. But when you think about the traditional process, right? It goes from a pasture, maybe as a calf, then it goes over to a feedlot and gets fattened up. Then it goes to a gigantic processor, and that cow is just processed with a bunch of thousands of other cows. And then from there, it's put on a truck to some kind of a distributor. And then from the distributor, it goes to your grocery store or butcher shop. And then from there, it goes home to you. So think about how many steps are involved and how many chances that for something to go wrong. I just read a story the other day that said salmonella outbreak in ShopRite stores on ground beef. It's like, yeah, when you raise your animals in a feedlot, you vaccinate the hell out of them, and then you put them into these confinement areas, and then you pack them in a truck and you take them to these gigantic processors. Like, what do you think can potentially happen? It's huge risk. And it's the worst quality food. It's the worst quality meat that you can eat. So, I mean, we have to wake up as a society. We have to wake up as a country and start thinking about what we're doing here. Because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the poison that people are ingesting on a day-to-day basis. When you could have all of this right here. I mean, these chickens are amazing. We got egg-laying chickens out there. You hear these guinea hens back here. You know, you got the cows, you got the pigs. Everything can be raised without the BS, right? We don't vaccinate any of our animals here. None. Zero. It's not a part of the program. We don't have to. It's not a large feedlot program that we're running. So we keep things as natural as possible, and we realize the power of this ground. This ground has tremendous nutrients that it produces in terms of minerals. And then the chickens do what they do all over the ground. right? And then boom, all of a sudden the ground becomes strengthened. The seedbed becomes strengthened. The environment that lives underneath our grasses and soil becomes stronger, right? There's a lot of activity from worms to bugs, you name it. And all of that is rebuilding soil. So that's what we're trying to do here, and that's what we're trying to teach other people. It's right here. It's close. We're 3 hours outside the city, and again, we could bring those meats right to you. So anyway, that's what I got. If you like what we have to say, give us a like, give us a subscribe, comment, share. We love talking to everybody, and thanks for supporting our journey. That's a beautiful tractor, isn't she? Anyway, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.